Well, I first started doing artwork when I was a tiny kid. I think I had an older sister who was good at everything. She was better than me at everything. And art seemed to be my thing. And so from the time I was 2, I think I knew I would be an artist. I had no choice. In college, I think most of my training was with oil and drawing. Did tons of life drawing, which I love, and I love to go back to, and I have taught that quite a bit. But most of the painting I did was with oil paint. Watercolor, I mostly just learned from seeing professors' work that I adored, that I saw how much time they devoted to the drawing and then used watercolors sparingly. And that sort of became my signature. Not really like theirs, but influenced by them. With oil, you can just jump in and go over what I've done if there's a mistake. So it's much more physical. I work bigger. And so it's a really different process. And it's nice to go from one back to the other. It keeps me fresher at both of them. I guess when I started painting, the main consideration is to get a composition that works. I do always have an idea of what I'm going to paint. I don't know how it will end up looking, which is always, fun to have a surprise and to not. It's never how I expect it to. but um, but I always have a subject in mind. Either I'm outside looking at it or inside working from memory or from photo reference. And sometimes that might have to change. You may have to adjust things as you go. I love to travel because it's a change of scene, and I find when I work from life so much, that's my main thing I've done all my life, and so you get tired of your immediate surroundings and feeling inspired about just where I live. I just love to go and be outdoors where you're not only looking at these different gorgeous views, but also smelling the smells there, hearing the sounds, just being there with all your senses. I think one of the hardest things for me as an artist all my life is working alone, the isolation of it. And that nobody really cares very much what you're doing. You just have to drag yourself in there and do it and show up and sit there whether you want to or not. If you're an artist, you do it. You don't wait for inspiration, you just go in and do it. But it's hard to assign yourself different problems and make yourself develop and change. Try different mediums, push yourself, not do what you know how to do, but keep moving on.
The investigation into the high school massacre is slow-moving and dangerous. The two gunmen who went on the rampage booby-trapped the building and even themselves.
A total of 15 people are believed to have died here, 12 students, one faculty member, and the two young killers. Investigators say this attack appears to have been carefully planned for a long time.
Parents, hug your kids. Pray that, be happy that you're with them. Kids, grab your friends, hold them tight. And never be mad at people, because it could happen in a second that they'll be gone.
And I worked on the Columbine mural, and it had to be done so quickly. I only had a month and a half to do this giant painting that turned out to be 65 by 85 feet, the space was. And we all worked on that. Amy helped me to paint it, and my husband and son really helped with the mathematics behind it, because I was working from blueprints from the architect which kept changing. There were 16 different canvases, the center one being 20 by 24 feet. I worked on that in my studio at home because there was not a place there yet. They took out the library in Columbine and opened up the entire space into an atrium. And my looking up at the forest theme on these different panels, it all had to add up correctly to get the right perspective of being in a forest and looking up at trees. It ended up being, I got to do the lighting also for this. So when we were finished installing it on the ceiling, I was able to turn all these gigantic lights up to focus on the sunlight in the middle of the mural, so it looks like light is coming out of it. So the effect when you walk into the room down below is that there's no ceiling. It's like you're in a forest looking up and there's light pouring in, which I hadn't even imagined when I started doing this. I feel like it helped to heal the students and faculty returning to Columbine High School. They were dreading going back into these spaces where the tragedies happened, and I think it really helped him turn that into a space that was inspiring. And one of the parents who lost a child there said you couldn't help but look up when you came into the room. So, I mean, that just makes it all worthwhile. I have worked on many collaborations. For instance, the Bottle Chapel at Airlie Gardens. I got that commission, I think, when I decided at the last minute that I had to do this. This was all of a sudden, I realized that even though I'm a painter, I love Minnie Evans. I wanted to do this. I wanted to try to make the park more open to everybody. Not such a white park as it started out being. So I decided that I would try to make a structure out of bottles, an outsider art medium that lent itself to Minnie Evans' designs, I think, and her wonderful colors, and would have the effect of walking into a 3D Minnie Evans painting. But then also if I could get other artists who felt as passionate about her as I did. And I was lucky to find 7 artists who contributed their part too. So that was a wonderful commission. It was hard. It was physically exhausting. It's hard to coordinate all these different people. But it made it the group project that it turned out to be. We have kids and grandchildren in Seattle, and it's hard for them to get here, so we get in the car and we drive a lot. So I just took pictures out of the car window, like 65,000 pictures I've taken in these last few years, and then I'll work from those at home. We always traveled a different way, just for variety, sometimes through the Southwest, sometimes through Canada, stopping to see friends and family. But this inspired an exhibit at the Cameron Museum that had about 140 road trip paintings in it. I continue to do them because with each trip we make out there, you see more things, and I realize there's such important, iconic things that you see whenever you cross the U.S. that I haven't painted yet. So it has become a whole different experience traveling across our country now. But I do love the changing landscape, the vegetation changes. I could paint forever on this series. My last project, I think, that I did that I think was important, and I'd like to pursue this, was working with doing portraits of women over 65, because you don't see that very much in art history. You see the young, gorgeous bodies, and then we disappear once we turn 65. Nobody wants to see us anymore or hear from us. But I did a show that was a group of about 12 oils that were exhibited at the Cameron. It was called Lived in Bodies, celebrating women over 65. And you realize that they're still so beautiful. This living pink skin or dark skin, and that we've given so much. We've done so much with these bodies that should be celebrated. These arms we're also embarrassed about because they're saggy and wrinkly. While these arms have cooked 1,000,000 meals and lifted babies 1,000,000 times and gardened and, look at all that we do in our lives, and we should be celebrated. I never dreamed I would be painting with my fingers. I have never done that since I was a little kid. But I found that as I used the brush and oil paints, it was impossible not to leave brush marks, which I never mind in all my other painting. I love that texture. But with this, I wanted a skin texture, and I found the only way was to just put on the paint with a brush and rub it with my fingers. And then I ended up doing everything with my fingers. Most of my models were good friends who happened to look great. That's why they volunteered to let me take a quick picture of them with very stark lighting, very black and white, dark shadows. I would like to get more of a variety of bodies and continue to do this. Somebody said, well, maybe you should do men now. And I thought, oh, no, no desire to do that. But nude women, I would like to maybe continue more of that. I would like to keep painting till I die, because I think artists can't retire like so many other careers. You don't stop. I hope that my work can continue to be fresh and original. I hope I'll keep having ideas and be able to do them. I have been sick a lot in the last couple of years with pneumonias and blood clots in my lungs from COVID and a car accident and some different things that have made me realize that I may not have all that time in the world. But I hope to do more important work, to do more to help heal people,